Piarco Regional Corporation, Kwasi, and he joins us to discuss disaster management. Now, apart from being the single largest regional corporation in Trinidad and Tobago, the corporation experiences its share of adverse weather phenomena. It's time for In-Depth with Tunapuna Piarco Regional Corporation. So welcome, Chairman Robinson. Now, just before we started and we were speaking a little bit, you were explaining to me there's a little bit of technicality with regard to the communities in the TPRC. Explain to me what is density versus largest before we go any further. Thank you.
When we're speaking about largest in the actual area, we are the third largest regional corporation. Kuva Tabakital Paro is larger than us in terms of physical space. When we look at density, the Tunapuna Corporation will be the largest. We have 250,000 burgesses, and we have another 60,000 of transient population because of the airport, the University of the West Indies, the hospital, and all the various universities that are there within our region. So we have a large transient population, Trinity Mall and Grand Bazaar. So we have all those stakeholders that bring some of the largest transient population outside of the capital city to the Tunapuna Corporation.
All right, and with a population that is that dense, the response system to natural disasters, adverse weather, what is that response system like?
So we have a comprehensive plan, and I would like to acknowledge my line minister, the Honorable Haji Kazim Hussein, who has done an excellent job along with the National Disaster Coordinator, Mr. Jerry David, in giving us and revising the plan because it's not a static document. So we have a model that allows us to try to prevent, to mitigate, to prepare and to respond and to recover from disasters. So we have a model that I liken to Carnival Tuesday when you see all the big trucks there, and then when you get to Port of Spain on a Wednesday morning, there are no big trucks, no feathers, no mass. The street is clean and we're ready to go again. So we try to operate within that model to be able to, when a tree falls across the road, when there's a flood, when there's a earthquake, when the landfill is on fire, we try to, the next morning when you come, you should not know there's a disaster there, and there are various levels where we escalate. So the system is a robust system, and with the support of our line minister and the National Disaster Coordinator, we are in a position to respond to most disasters.
But just before we go into the system a little more, I want to categorically state that we would have shown some footage of you at the Savannah in Dinsley, and that footage would have been taken 2019. So you see no masks, but that footage is from 2019. Now, speaking to the robustness of the system, Chairman, what is it that possibly makes this system a little different from some of the others? Because I think everybody has problems, everybody has resources that they would like a little more of. What is it that makes that distinguishing factor with the Tunapuna Piarco Regional Corporation?
So it's three parts, and it's all about stakeholder management. Firstly, I must thank my CEO, who is the head of my administration department, and I have some really enthusiastic and dedicated staff members. And we also have one of the largest staff complements. I have 1,600 workers. The second level of that is my council members. The disaster committee chairman is Councillor Derek Legge. This is his 7th or 8th year in local government. He's one of the most experienced councillors within our corporation, and he also provides a significant level of leadership. And thirdly, our burgesses, because of how many disasters and the different type of disasters we have been exposed to, we have that level of resilience among them. So, for example, Councillor Corey Salvon have significant landslides and fallen trees in his communities. A lot of the residents themselves bought chainsaws, and they provide that level of support and community work. Councillor Samuel Sanka, in those areas that are closer to the Caroni banks, a lot of those residents have vehicles that have been retrofitted to be able to go through flood waters to provide a level of support. A lot of the businesses come out and support without even us asking. They come to us to support. So, we have that level of robustness within the system.
And that system would have actually faced some adverse weather. How was it? Because we actually saw you doing a report. There was slippage, or there was some collapse in a road recently?
That particular one would have been earlier this year, and that would have been at the Orange Grove, the Golden Grove Road. And that bridge would have collapsed there. There was some land slippage, and then the Wassa main would have ruptured. And that is how we usually respond to disasters. So we will have the agency that would have taken the lead in this particular instance is the Minister of Work and the Ministry of Works, and they would have provided the guidance and the leadership in this particular instance, and we would have provided support. And that was a significant effort to get the Bailey Bridge up, and right now the project is ongoing there to restore that road to what it was before. But the Bailey Bridge is up there. We would have provided the communication, the TTPS would have given us the support, and we'd have had WASA out there, and TSTT would have been out there, and other telecommunications companies to remove the lines, repair the water mains, and then eventually get the Bailey Bridge up, which the Ministry of Works, through its engineers, would have done. And now we are at the stage where we're going to rebuild the road to its original condition with some improvements.
That makes me want to ask, who are the stakeholders that you normally would engage for these types of responses? Because you've also spoken about community members just taking the onus upon themselves to pitch in. So also, what are some of those overlaps between personal responsibility, responsibility of the corporation, as well as a national response to deal with issues like this?
Firstly, in terms of the stakeholders that we are engaged with, there are various levels of disasters, level 1, level 2, level 3. So first and foremost, our disaster unit is the place where all this management and execution happens. However, our Minister of Local Government believes in an all-of-corporation approach. So when a disaster happens, it's not only the disaster unit that is responsible. The entire corporation, once we are there and people are out, we respond to the disaster. So our tree-cutting unit, our technical unit. So that's the first level. And then the all-of-government approach, which we look to the other regional corporations. Special thanks to the Arima mayor and the CEO, and also the SAWA, because they flank me on the left and right, and they provide a significant amount of support for me. And when there were land slippages in the Blanchisseuse area, in the Arima Bypass Road, because they are nearer and their transport area is nearer, they would have given us significant support. Similarly, Anthony Roberts, who is one of the most experienced chairmen we have, he provides tremendous support in that St. Joseph and the Maracas area, and even on the North Coast Road. So that's the second level of, if something happens, we reach out to them. And then finally, depending on the extent of it, we have TNTEC, WASA, all the various state agencies. The Ministry of Local Government would have also come out with a very robust program to train community members, which is the CERT training. And that's where we have persons in communities like Dexter Waldron, Miss Rhonda Jones, and a lot of the MP staff are trained in that. They have the CERT training. So sometimes before we even get there, the CERT officers are there collecting the data and also directing some of the response from the other state agencies, for example, the fire services and WASA.
No, I love the fact, I'm taking in all the information, but I love the fact that you're just able to rattle these names off of the tip of your tongue. And we will speak to that in just a little bit, but we take a break. We're speaking with Chairman of the Tunapuna Piarco Regional Corporation, Kwasi Robinson. Stay with us.
For generations, hard work and good advice have been essential. So when hard work gives me tough pain, I rely on Panadol Ultra that relieves fast 5 types of tough pain. Take good advice. Take Panadol Ultra. Find your trusted Panadol Extra Strength with a new look and new tablet.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
The best for your baby at the best price is at dbesttoys.com. We have everything you need right here.
We have car seats, potties, high chairs, jumpers, carriers, strollers, and we even have travel systems.
We have rockers, walkers, cribs, playpens, animal blankets, sensory toys, rattles, bottles, bath toys, bathtubs, clothes, and much more. We have the best brands, the best prices for your baby at dbesttoys.com.
Gerber, Dr. Brown, Mattel, Leapfrog, Disney Baby, VTech Baby, Carter's, Avent,
Graco, Chico, Infantino, Fisher-Price, Twist Shake, and much more.
Now available in-store at Forces Flagship McLean or shop online at dbesttoys.com. Call or WhatsApp 332-BABY. That's 332-2229. Nationwide delivery available. Cash or links on delivery.
Welcome back to In Depth with Dike Rostant. We are speaking with Chairman of the Tunapuna Piarco Regional Corporation, Kwasi Robinson. And just before we took the break, we were starting to look at some of the faces behind the corporation, Chairman. And it seems as though you've taken a very concerted and conscious effort to highlight some of these faces. Because even during the pandemic, it seems as though we're starting to look at the term essential and who is essential to the running of an outfit. But what steps has the corporation taken to highlight, put the spotlight on, showcase some of these individuals?
So currently we have a program that's called Monony Ground, where we look at those foot soldiers we have in the corporation that directly impact the lives of the burgesses. One of the things that when I got involved in local government in 2013, you would have heard is that corporation workers are lazy, unproductive, don't do enough work. And while there's much room for improvement, I think we have to look at where we are doing well, because it's very easy to point out what's not good. That we have a knack for that as a country. However, I believe that there are significant persons that are doing well. And as such, being involved in the council and having the opportunity to lead the council now, I think it was very important for me as chairman to show the burgesses that there are things in the state sector that we can be proud of, and things that we ought to be proud of, and there are persons who we need to give encouragement. And where there is room for improvement, we will improve. But for now, let us look at those things that are working well, because there are countries that go to the moon, but that doesn't mean that states don't flood. So I'm saying that where we have flooding and things that are not going well, we work on those things. But in the meantime, my three-quarters are not going to the moon, but they are with their work, they go to the moon and back for the burgesses every day. And those are the people I want to recognize every day once I'm there in the council.
So there's a series that you have people can actually go and see some of these individuals. What is the name of the series? Because you just spoke about Man on the Ground, and I think there's also Market Merchants. Market Merchants Minute.
So that series, I go to the market every Saturday once I am able to, and I don't have any housework to do because I have a young wife, and sometimes I have to be there to give support in the household because of the pandemic. Yeah. So once I'm able to on a Saturday morning, I go to the market, and I used to actually go to the market every Saturday with my grandmother, and I enjoyed it. It was a university for me. I used to go to the Arima market, and every Saturday I went there for most of my developmental years, from 7 years all the way probably up to 15, 16. Every Saturday I'll go there, and that really gave me a sense of who we were as a people. When I started back to go in the market, especially during the pandemic, I recognized that a lot of the market vendors would say things slow, and I couldn't understand it. And then I realized that I no longer go to the market. And I mean, because I moved out, I no longer live there, and so I realized I needed to get young persons like myself and even the younger generation back to see what the market has to offer, because the market is full of flavor, both figuratively and literally. And once we lose that as a people, we really lose a sense of who we are. The Tunapuna market, again, like everything else in this country, there's much to be improved, but there are things that we could be happier with. The prices are good, we have a healthy environment, and we are working on improving it. So the Market Merchant Minutes, we highlight the market vendors. So Miss Sandra, the Fishman, Bobby, and also during the pandemic, we'd have lost some vendors through the COVID. And I also felt that we lost their stories, and we weren't able to tell their story before they would have passed on. So it is important that we document things. Is why I think even this company, the state company, TTT, is important for us to document and showcase ourselves in the way that we want to tell the story. So that Market Merchant Minute is very important to me. It's a personal place in my heart for it, and we'll continue doing that program for as long as we could. I think we're on the 4th episode now.
When you started talking, I feel nostalgic, you know, because the market is a place, there's a kind of communion and interacting with people, looking at how, and even like learning how to interact with people, because somebody might have the nicest face and they're selling the okra that little pass, so it's not boiling down nice in the pot and all these kind of things, and learning how to deal with these things.
Negotiating skills.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and
important.
you talk about Arima market, and I remember there's this person with a styrofoam box outside the Arima market.
Roti?
When is the last time you ate a $5 roti?
That's been a while. I mean, I eat roti twice a day, but it's been a while since I had a $5 roti in Arima. I should probably go and call the Arima mayor and see if that woman is still there tomorrow. I'll probably pass and get, it's probably $15 now, but I'll pass by the Arima market and get a roti.
Definitely. But what are some of those other things, and in terms of contacting, you just spoke about contacting the remote mayor, people trying to engage with the Tunapuna Piarco Regional Corporation, how do they reach out? How do they contact? What are some of the things they contact you for? So
they contact me for everything, even things that I'm not responsible for. But I don't shy away from responsibility. My political leadership and guidance has taught me that when you're in leadership, you don't shy away from your responsibility. And I'm very grateful to serve under my minister. And in my region, we have significant strength throughout the region in terms of the Minister of Housing, the Minister of Youth, the Minister in the Ministry of Education, and the Minister of Public Utilities, Minister of Planning, Minister of Health, Deputy Speaker of the House. So within that lineage, I learned not to shy away from responsibility. So people contact me for everything, and those things that I can deal with, I obviously try my best to deal with, and those that are not my direct responsibility, I try to pass them on to the government agency or the private agency that's responsible for it. And my private cell number, which you all should not call now because it's in my pocket now and it's actually vibrating, it's 489-9090. And I try to answer the phone. You could send a WhatsApp or text, and all our numbers should be up on screen. I would have sent it. You will have it up on screen. All the numbers are there. All the councillors' numbers are pinned on the top of our social media, Tunapuna Piarco Regional Corporation. And I mean, you could just reach out to us for things that are within local government. And I want to also say that there are significant road repairs that are going to start within this month. And we understand the Burgesses are very... they are crying out for the improved infrastructural work. A lot of time would have been lost in the last 2 years because of the COVID, so we should be in a position to restart very soon. And I want to thank the Burgesses and the council members, because they themselves are frustrated by the cause of the Burgesses, for bearing with me as chairman, and also just understanding the state that the country is in at present. So all our numbers are on our social media, and my personal cell number is 489-9090.
But when the Burgesses are crying out and they actually contact you with things that are in your portfolio and you have responsibility for, how do you filter? Because everybody wants the help at this point in time. How do you go forward and say, okay, well, this is what we're dealing with right now. We're going to have you in mind, but you're a little further down the line. How do you deal with that?
Well, that is where leadership comes in. It's important for starters to have a 16 councillors in the council, and then it's 20 members in total. So you're talking about every meeting there are different divergent views. So that's the first level of the allocation of resources. And then with the Burgesses, of course, sometimes I try to explain to them about open door policy. I had stopped my office days during COVID, but usually I see persons from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening on my office day, which usually would have been the second Thursday. However, as we continue to ease the restrictions, I will start back my office day. So I really have to try my best to communicate. Burgesses are not always happy. It's very difficult to make everyone happy. However, what I strive for is excellence. My councillors, they strive for excellence. My vice chairman and I try our best to deal with it strategically and not on a personal level. And that's why I probably have to apologize to my mother for not paving her road since 2013. Mommy, I know I should pave the road. However, again, from a strategic level, that street doesn't have the number of Burgesses, or the project costs too much at this point in time, and there are other persons who would have requests in before. So now I am the chairman, and this is a personal example again, that my mother would have made an appointment to see me on my second office day to ask for a road to be paved, and so far it has not been paved. Hopefully, as resources become more readily available, I'll get to that. But I really try to focus on not take a personal approach to my leadership. I try my best to try to deal with the parts of society that are most vulnerable, and the areas that we need to really focus on, and I do that without fear or favor.
And right now I feel that Mommy get a little set up, because if somebody see their road paved, or Mommy road get paved before theirs, and it says only 2013 she checking you, that might also be a little bit of a conversation you need to have. But in the minute that we have remaining, Chairman, what are some of those things that, or some of the initiatives that you really say, okay, well, we are going to start this in the near future? Because you spoke about roads. Are there any other things that you have on the drawing board?
Yes, so we have a project that we're going to do to clean up dump sites in the region, because we find that a significant parts of the region have started to really look not to the standard that we would like it to. So we're going to have a serious program of just cleaning up these dump sites, these roadside garages, and really try to keep a clean scene around the region. We're also trying to restart our recycling that would have been piloted by the former council and the former chairman. That's an excellent initiative. We would have started it in Trin City. We're trying to roll that back out. And also there's an important, thanks for this question, Dike, there's an important project that we're about to start that had some green funding, which is from the IAM movement. It's called Me We Green. It's actually teaching persons to propagate and correctly plant the vetiver grass, which protects the hillsides and also protects persons' homes on the sides of rivers and that kind of stuff. So Daniel and his entire team would have gone to Lupino with the Lupino Village Council up there, Mr. Namora, and we're supposed to visit Brasso. So we have 2 areas in our region. I think it's 9 nationally. So we're going to start that program. So we're going to try some green solutions because we do have the money to build all the retaining walls that are required. So we're going to go some green solutions. So Daniel, we will chat over this weekend.
And sometimes the intuitive or the traditional systems that have worked for so long, sometimes we just try to throw money at a problem instead of saying, okay, well, what used to work before we had this technology or before we had this knowledge? And when you go back to what Granny and her foreparents were doing, sometimes it makes more sense in the long run because you're also looking at how it deals with the ecology of the space as well. But we want to thank you very much, Chairman Kwasi Robinson of the Tunapuna Piarco Regional Corporation for being a part of this. And it's very funny that you say that you speak about the Green Fund because we actually spoke to members of the Green Fund yesterday. So I think the conversation is timely and on point. And on behalf of the entire news team, we want to thank you for tuning in. This has been In Depth. Have a good one. Thank you for joining in. I'm Dike Rostant.
The winning numbers in the National Lottery online draws for Friday, 10th September 2021. At 10:30 a.m., play with number 21, Mouth. 2 mega bonus